blast. Teenage dreams and neon screens. It was all rad, and no one to me. Like, you know, it's like whatever, together forever. We're never gonna sever. Laughing and sharing our stories clever. We'll take you back. It's like whatever.
Welcome to Like Whatever, a podcast for, by, and about Gen X. I'm Nicole, and this is my BFFF, Heather.
Hello.
So, how was your week?
It was all right. How was your week? We're ramping up for Christmas here at the post office.
Yeah, I'm ramping up in this house. There's 3 trees up so far.
Yeah, I saw all 3 of them. I noted each and every one.
My husband was like, do you really need 2 trees in the living room? I was like, yes. He's like, okay.
You don't.
But I did spare you the tree in the podcast room that he thought would be hilarious to put in here since you hate Christmas.
I appreciate it.
I'm not a dick. So
I'm going to bring a black one in. So.
That's fine. It can sit right in that corner back there.
We could. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just ramping up for Christmas. It's just starting to get a little bit busy at the post office.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, this is a slow time for me at work. I love it.
Must be nice. Yes. I mean, it'll be nice again in January when I won't have to. But, you know, we record on Tuesday, so this is before Thanksgiving. So the next few days are going to be hell for me.
Yeah.
Actually, probably next week because of Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it really starts kicking off.
Mm-hmm.
So...
yeah, I have a short week this week. Thank goodness. One of the benefits of being a state employee.
Yeah, you'd think because I was a federal worker, I would get those benefits too, but no.
It's kind of the opposite.
It is the opposite. Very unfair.
Yeah. I did decide, though, after last week, not knowing what I'm doing this week, I've decided to cook.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. So I've got a turkey. My nephew is coming over.
Excellent.
We're going to watch football.
Cool.
I'm going to make a shit ton of food.
I love that.
I love making food for people, so I'm actually pretty excited.
Will there be leftovers for the next time I'm here?
Probably.
Okay,
I'm making a lot of food for 3 people.
I'm going to need mashed potatoes.
I am making mashed potatoes.
Okay, that's what I'm going to need. That's my favorite Thanksgiving food.
Homemade gravy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll be looking forward to my leftovers.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to stuff the bird. I'm going to make the stuffing.
It's full of salmonella.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's the best way to have it.
It is.
Salmonella-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded.
I ate it as a kid.
We didn't die.
No, we did not.
We didn't die over a lot of things that we probably should have died over.
Yeah.
But, you know.
That is true.
Nobody cared about us.
No.
And no one still cares about us.
Mm-mm.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you that my coworker has said that our theme song is an earworm. And I just want to let anybody who doesn't know, I made that song.
You did.
With the, okay. So I didn't make that song. I technically made that song, but a computer made that song.
No, you definitely get credit. You crushed it.
That's AI.
Yes.
And I just described what I wanted to hear. And it did it. So yeah. But yeah, my coworker says it's an earworm and wishes he could listen to the whole thing. So I don't know, maybe I'll try and figure out how to make the song longer and
yes.
It's
impressive. I most times forget what AI even stands for, let alone knowing how to use
artificial intelligence.
No, I know right now, but
okay.
Sometimes I might forget.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This artificial intelligence nonsense. But a friend of mine told me that you could do it because when we first decided to do this,
When I first decided to do this,
I reached out to my friend who, I was a big sister with Big Brother's Big Sister. She was also a big sister.
She was Big Sister of the Year. Okay,
it was 2014.
But still,
it was
you were
10 years ago.
Awesome.
Shout out to E-Money, Elena.
Still super proud.
I still see my little sister. She is the mother of 2 now, and she is, I guess, like 24, 25 now.
Yeah.
She's an old lady.
She is.
Yeah, and so I still see her. Anyway, she was also a big sister, and she is in a local band. called the Ginger Band with her husband.
Mhm.
Nancy Curry is her name. She plays locally. She is also in a band called the Funsters, and she plays around here a lot.
Okay.
Anyway, more to my point. But hi, Nancy. I asked her about how much it would cost to do like a theme song, or, you know, if she would be willing to do it. And she said she would love to, but she didn't have the equipment right now, and yada, yada, yada. So she said there's a lot of AI programs that will do it for you. And I was like, well, I'll give it a go. And I found that. And after, I don't know, 400 of them, different genres of music, different things, we finally ended up with this one. So
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with it. It's catchy.
I
It's-
really love it.
It's very catchy.
Yep.
So
Yep. You did a great job.
thank you.
Thank you.
We also have another shout out.
Oh, yes. My friend Eric, he, with his brother Darren and his daughter Cameron, have a podcast called The Brothers Camper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, it is. They are very funny.
Yes.
And they do a lot of reminiscing about the past, kind of like we do. So it's fun to hear their perspectives. And there are others, like we did the one on Saturday morning cartoons, and they also did one, but they kind of did different cartoons than we did. And
Right.
they did it like different than we did. So it was, I don't know, it was fun to listen to. But yes, they are a lot of fun. Again, the Brothers Camper, wherever you get your podcasts. Give
It's
them a
very
try.
nice of them. They gave us a shout out on their latest.
They did, and we heard it, and thank you so much.
Yes, you can find them on anywhere
Mm-hmm.
that podcasts are. So it's a very entertaining
Yes.
podcast. So
And they're
thank
also
you.
on the socials as well,
Yes.
or at least Facebook. For
And I know they have the same issue as us with the Facebook. So follow them on Facebook and
Yes.
comment on their stuff and
yes,
like, share, rate, review. Like,
yes,
for anytime you hear a new podcast, that's really important, is the
Yes.
ratings and the reviews
Yes.
and stuff,
Yes,
especially in Apple. Moves you up.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. Or on socials, just like the page.
Yeah.
And then you can hide our posts if you don't want
Yeah,
to see
you
anything.
can just tell us to shut the hell up. No one gives a shit about what you're selling.
You can ghost us,
Yeah.
as the kids say these days.
We don't care. Also, this week, we went on a little adventure
Yep.
to Newcastle or Newark,
Mhm.
and we had dinner at a lovely restaurant,
Mhm.
and we had mozzarella sticks. And what is the deal with nobody having mozzarella sticks anymore?
Because they're all trying to have all these fancy, like, hipster, which there's nothing wrong with those appetizers. They are delicious as well, although they do include a lot of things that you won't eat.
No. And
So-
there's nothing better than, I mean, fried cheese is fried cheese.
Yes. And I do appreciate, like, there's a restaurant around the corner from me. They do their own version of a mozzarella stick, which is amazing. But, you know, you have to have mozzarella sticks. And they're dirt cheap.
I know. I don't understand it.
Like, why wouldn't you have them? They should come free at every table when you sit down.
Agreed. I don't know why. I mean, you know, Mexican restaurants give out chips and queso. Why cannot every restaurant give out mozzarella sticks?
Agreed. We should start a petition.
What is it? Something.gov.com. What is it? Gov.org.
MozzarellaSticks.gov.
Gov.org. What's the one where you make a petition to the government?
Well, we're going to have
Change.org.
Oh,
We
that's
need to go
the
to
one.
change.org and change the world one mozzarella stick at a time.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's it. I think that's.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
We did.
It was
We
nice.
always do.
Yeah, I had a cheeseburger
Mm-hmm. You always do.
per usual.
Mm-hmm.
A big cheeseburger aficionado.
Yes.
Um,
You are.
So let's fuck around and find out about the mall.
The
The
mall.
mall. I got my information from The Life and Death of the American Mall by Matthew Christopher, Why Malls Were So Important in the 80s for Teens by Monica Reed, and Meet Me by the Fountain, An Inside History of the Mall by Alexandra Lang.
I love that name, by the way.
Meet Me by the Fountain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, where else did you meet? Except maybe like in front of Sears if you were parked down that way or something.
Well, I'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let me tell you about the mall.
I'm ready.
The first contemporary enclosed suburban shopping mall was the Southdale Shopping Center in Edina, Minnesota in 1956.
Okay.
It's still in use today, too, by the way.
That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Not a lot of them are still around, but that one is.
Mm-hmm.
The whole reason they made malls is because of the exodus to the suburbs. So everybody was leaving cities and going to the suburbs. And there was everybody was used to everything being on 2 blocks, and you just, did the block, and you had everything you needed right there.
Right.
And that's where everybody met and socialized. And in the suburbs, they just really didn't have, everybody was so spread out, and it was so car centric, and nobody walked anymore, that there was really nothing. So malls were set up to mimic a city street.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you think about it, like the anchor and then the hallway, and there's all the little shops and stuff, and then another anchor, and it's basically a city block. It's the way it was mimicked. City streets. Oh, so that's where you could get your hair done, you could buy groceries, visit the bank, and enjoy an art installation all in one place, because these designers of these malls were like, I mean, everything I read was they were into the art of the buildings.
Oh.
Yes. So everything had to be fancy schmancy with sculptures, and hence the fountains.
Yes.
And there, a lot of them had the big giant atriums, and they would put, I don't know if you remember, but I know Salisbury did, the new mall in Salisbury. Had the big atrium, and it had exotic plants in there. And they did that so that you thought you were going somewhere with all these fancy pants palm trees.
Well, the Blue Hen Mall, most of it has been reconstructed into other things. The Blue Hen Mall, for those not from this area, was the mall when we were kids.
Right.
And
it had Woolworth.
It was awesome.
Didn't it have Woolworth? It had Woolworth, right?
Oh, yeah. But it had the atriums as well, and all of the plants. And actually, the other end, where they haven't done as much construction, there are still plants in there. And there's still skylights. So a lot of the original artwork is still in there too, speaking of which. So
if you Google malls, there is not a lot of so this episode is gonna be a lot of walking down memory lane for us, because there is not a lot of information on malls specifically. It's mostly pictures of malls and the old malls and stuff.
But we're Gen X, so we are technically the experts on malls.
On malls. We pretty much lived in malls. But in the first mall, they did have a restaurant that mimicked the sidewalk cafe. It had umbrellas and everything on it. And that was kind of cool. But the heyday of the mall was the 80s. And that is when we all remember the mall. Skylights, plants, fountains, and they were all so 80s. Like, even though most of these malls were built before the 80s, they all they just smell like the 80s, I think. You know why they smell like smoke and Dracar Noir and...
Yeah, because you could smoke in the mall back then.
You could smoke in the mall back then. Sculptures.
You could smoke everywhere. You could smoke on an airplane.
You could. I remember my 10th grade. I think it was 10th grade we went to France, and you could smoke on the airplanes going to France.
Yeah, I went to New Orleans when I was 18, and they smoked on the plane then.
I think that was the last time you could smoke on a plane. I don't know. They got hip to it. The reason the fountains and all that came in, they also, I don't know if you ever really thought about it, and I had not thought about it until I did this. There was a giant clock in every mall, because, I mean, who doesn't like a giant clock?
Yes.
So giant clocks, and I'm going to keep saying it, were in every mall because they wanted to have landmarks. So you can say to your kids, I'm going into Sears to buy shit. Meet me at the clock in an hour. And
Here's
then,
$5 to go to the arcade.
Yes. And leave me the hell alone while I shop for your shit at Sears.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why they had that. That's why they had all that, and why it was set the way it was, so that you could, have the landmarks and you can just be like, get out of here and go.
And how Gen X is it that our parents hand us money and we're like, get the fuck away from us
me.
In a place where there are tons of strangers around.
Nothing but strangers around.
Exactly.
And yes, hey, we used to get dropped off, like on a Friday or Saturday. Well, I didn't live close enough to a mall that we could do that regularly because it was like 45 minutes to Salisbury. But when I would spend the night with people who lived in Salisbury or anybody that lived closer to Dover, they would just drop you off at like 7:00. And you were supposed to go to the movies or whatever, and then you just roamed the mall like a bunch of heathens.
Smoking cigarettes.
Cussing.
Your ears pierced.
Oh, I got my ears pierced so many times, and then had to pull them back out before I got home, and then had to get them re-pierced a million times.
I know, it made me sad for my kids when they hit that age. They would go to the mall occasionally, but not much. There's nothing to do there anymore. It's not the malls that it was when we were kids, and now it's just a gathering place. And I think there's a lot of fights, and I think that a lot of kids aren't allowed in malls after a certain time. And
then you got mall shootings, and it's not the. And all the anchors left. I mean, all the anchors went belly up. So
yeah, I mean, what teenager wants to shop at Boscov's and JCPenney?
None. I didn't want to do it when I was a teenager. I still don't want to do it as an adult.
No.
I know you like Boscov's.
I do love Boscov's.
But Nicole worked in the mall. I never worked in the mall. But Nicole has mall experience.
I have a lot of mall experience.
Well, you tell me about your mall experience.
All right, so I worked for Wilson's Leather.
Yes, that's the one.
That was a big store when we were.
It was.
Yeah, I actually started at Georgetown Leather, which was Wilson's Leather's like finer, prettier sister.
It was. The fancier of the two.
Yes, we didn't carry those heavy biker coats.
No, you didn't. With a lighter leather.
Yeah, we did. We actually sold like suede button-down shirts and stuff.
Oh, God.
It was crazy.
That's awful.
And a lot of leather accessories. But anyway, so I worked at the Georgetown Leather in one mall, and then that was closing up, so I had to go to another mall to work at Wilson's Leather. Because I was a manager. Well,
She's a fancy
assistant manager.
Excuse you, manager of the leather store.
So I went to that mall, and that was a really bad mall because it was close to 95,
right?
And close to state lines. So it was a really hot spot for people to come in and steal. And
this was the 90s too. This was later. Also.
Yeah,
it was in the
So
the late 90s, right? Because you were,
it was 96, 97.
Yeah.
So this couple comes into the store. We had just opened. I had a coworker working in the back. I was her supervisor.
Again, showing off.
And you could often tell people who were shoplifting because they would just grab things. They wouldn't look at sizes. They're just kind of tossing stuff on counters and trying to hurry. So it was pretty evident right away. It was what was going on. So back in those days, you had to call in purchases that were over a certain amount,
right,
to make sure the credit card company
would accept
that charge. So I told this couple that I had to call it in, and while I was calling it in, the woman left, and I'm on the phone whispering to the guy that I think it's a stolen card, and he's like, just give him back the card, but I put a death grip on this card. Dude comes around the counter, is like trying to pry my hand off it, slams me down to the ground, never got the credit card.
She was not giving it up.
It was like $75 reward. I think it was a platinum card.
I know.
Yeah, it was a big reward if you retrieved
They
it.
were big rewards, yeah.
And I needed the money. I had a baby couple. So
yeah, she was pregnant.
What are you going to do? So, but,
yeah, she's pregnant during this situation also. Do not fuck around with Nicole.
In the meantime, I'm screaming for the girl in the back who eventually comes out. I think that's when the guy finally ran. But yeah, I was a lucky one though. There was a, what was the male version of the Express? Structure.
Yeah.
There was a structure down, and one night they were closing up, and if you haven't worked in the mall, you might not know that is like a maze of hallways in the back of the mall.
I did not.
Mm-hmm. And someone had come in through there into the back of Structure, tied up everybody in the place, had guns, robbed. I mean, big deal. And I was working that night. Like, I didn't know at the time when I was working that it was going on, but yeah, it was not safe. But like you said, that was later in the 90s.
Yes.
When malls were
let me guess,
becoming a little bit more.
You did not get the next day off after your.
Oh God, no.
No.
I don't even think I got to go home that day.
I'm sure you didn't.
I was the supervisor.
That was not something that happened. You just sucked it up, sweetie.
Exactly. And then I worked at a shoe store. Wild Pear. That's what it was called.
We were trying to remember the other day, and we could not remember.
And the guy there that was my supervisor was even younger than me. And he looked like a cross between, I would say, Trent Reznor and the lead singer of Korn. Like somewhere in there.
That's a look.
That was a really fun store, though, because we lived close to Philadelphia, and so the drag queens would come down because we carried, like, size 13, 14, 15 in women's, like, platform heels and stuff. So that was a really fun job. And we were right across the mall from the Cinnabon. Oh, my God. And that's when Cinnabon was good. Yeah. Like, it's not the same now.
I loved that shoe store. That shoe store was amazing. I spent a lot of money in that store. I am a shoe nut. You wouldn't know it, most of you, because I work with you and you only ever see me in these ugly shoes. But I did.
You are shoe obsessed.
I had a shoe for every occasion. Most of them were Doc Martens, and yes, I had. Most
of them probably still are. Doc
Martens.
Martens.
I do have quite a few pairs of Doc Martens. I wore Doc Martens to my wedding. My with skulls on them.
Yeah.
And my black. Yeah. They are. It's funny that you say that because I was on the Doc Martens. They sent me an email the other day that they're, Black Friday. And I was like, okay. Because they're stupid now. I hate them now. They're not made in England anymore. You can get the ones that are made in England, but they're $250 for just the regular. I wish I still had the ones I had.
Oh my gosh.
I wore the hell out of them. So I went on the site because I was like, we'll see how much. And they did have this lovely work boot that I want so bad. And it was on sale, so I might still buy it. But it's basically a Doc Marten duck boot.
Ooh.
I fucking know.
I love it.
It's fleece lined.
Ooh.
And waterproof. So, in a couple of weeks, y'all might see me rocking the Doc Marten. It depends on how heavy they are, too.
Yeah.
Because I tried wearing my wedding boots to work, and they're just so stupid heavy that I was like, I'm not trying to exercise this much.
Yes.
I'm too fat for that shit now. I can't be wearing those heavy-ass boots anymore. But yes, I loved the Wild Pear was, hands down, the best. Because that was before the one that has... They didn't have Docs. It was cheaper shoes, if I recall. But
I don't think we had Docs.
Big platform. The bumped up. Do you remember the
Journeys
bumped up sneakers?
Is the one.
Yeah, Journeys. Yeah. Do you remember the bumped up sneakers? And
oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot. I rocked those too. I had ones with flames. Oh yeah, those were. I was so cool when I was in the 90s. I was the coolest kid ever. I wasn't, but I like to tell everyone that I was.
You were.
I was.
I'll vouch for it.
I still have the same exact hair that I did then.
Yes.
And I probably still have the same wardrobe, so I don't know why I'm not cool now.
Yeah.
I think just I'm too old for that.
Huh.
Anyway, I digress. So yeah, mall life was everything to us, and you had movies and like I said, the Salisbury Mall, the old mall. It was they had it. The only thing I really remember about the old mall, which I don't know why I don't really have a whole lot of recollection about the old mall, because the new mall didn't come until, I don't know, the 90s or something. I think I was I know I drove to the new mall. So, the old mall, by the way, I don't know why we still call it the old mall and the new mall, because the old mall has been a parking lot for quite some time now for the Civic Center. But the old mall had a skate shop in it. And that was where I got my first pair of Vans high top. They were purple and white checkerboard.
Fancy.
Speaking of shoes. Yes. And I think that's where I got my Converse for the first time. I had to do a lot of talking to get those Vans. A lot of talking. Because at school, see, you got to go school shopping. I had to wear a uniform, so there was no school shopping. So to be able to try and talk my mom into paying for the ugly ass shoes we had to wear to school and cool sneakers on top of it, it was like, you have to pick one. So I chose the Vans or outside of school where no one ever saw me.
Right.
And then I got ugly ass shoes to wear. I had penny loafers at one point. Yeah. I did, and I even put a dime in them.
Oh.
Yeah. That's how fancy
high roller.
I was a high roller. So the 80s was the time of consumerism and materialism. And that is why the mall really took off, because, you know, it was everything the 80s were. It was every store, there was a mall for everything. There was high-end malls, low-end malls, even your own mall had, like, there would be a section of high-end stuff, down by the Macy's.
Yes.
And then it got gradually less expensive as you moved down to the JCPenney's and the Montgomery Ward.
Yes.
So it was a lot of designers in the 80s, and the power suits and the neon colors and the shoulder pads.
Oh, the shoulder pads.
And the oversized accessories. And what else I was, I rocked all the time. And up until a few years ago, still did rock, was my Swatch.
Ah.
I love a Swatch.
I do too. I got one for Christmas last year.
I love them.
I asked my husband for one for Christmas last year.
I have this one right now that I want so bad. It's orange and it's got a giant skull on it. Ugh, I want it so bad. I have had so many. I wish, when we were in Vegas the last time when I got married, we went to they have a Swatch store, and we went in there and they brought out a book because we were talking to them about all the swatches that we had. And of course the girl was like, 22 and
right.
She could have cared less about our adventures in swatches, and especially when I told her I had the clear one. So she brought out this book of all the swatches, and you could go back and look at all the swatches and how much they are worth now. Because I used to wear mine to work all the time, so they would get restaurant growths because they were so good at restaurants, because they were waterproof and shockproof, and when they got stinky, you could just take the band off and get a new band. And
yep, I had the Coca-Cola one.
That's
like the original one. Yeah. I know.
I had the one. It was a space scene, and it came in a bubble. The packaging was like a moon. Yeah, that one was worth big money, especially if you had the packaging. But I just stuck a knife in that bitch and ripped it all to hell.
Yep.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
No, I went. Up until my mom and dad moved, there was still a drawer in that house that still had swatches in it, but they were all beat to hell and probably still stunk like restaurants. Just grossness.
Probably.
Had grease all in them. So, yes, malls in the 80s became social hubs for teenagers and young adults. And they offered a place where young people could gather, hang out, and engage in various activities. arcades, movie theaters, and food courts. And you would just spend your whole evening roaming around.
It was awesome.
It was.
It was just awesome.
It was nice.
Yeah.
I also had the arcades. So there was an arcade in Ocean City.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the arcades in Ocean City were amazing because they all had the claw machines,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them had cigarettes in the claw machine. So I can tell you right now, I am amazing at claw machines. From trying to dig cigarettes out. I got very good at it because you didn't have to have an ID or anything. You just walked in. Yeah. So, but there was an arcade.
Well, we had cigarette vending machines.
Yes.
We also did not need IDs.
No, and you could just go to the store and be like, my mom needs cigarettes.
Or the bowling alley. Or
anywhere. No one, just here, smoke this and be quiet.
Just go away.
God, you're 7, be quiet. Stick the cigarette in your mouth. You stop talking.
Take those $5 and wander out in the street.
Yeah. So the mall that was down the street. Now, this was the 90s. This was not I guess it was the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
89. Whenever prom happened. So 90s, early 90s, late 80s. I did not hang out with the kids at my school really ever.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, before I met you people,
Mm-hmm.
Who led me down a different level of corruption.
Weirdness.
And corruption. These people at this mall corrupted me even more. So my junior year? No, it was 10th grade. I was driving, so I guess it was junior year. I was hanging out with the people at the arcade from this mall. And it was homecoming. And we were drinking. And because of the school we went, here's the thing, and my dad has never heard the story, and it's very upsetting. We were drinking in the parking lot, right? Because that's what you do.
Yeah.
We were at the park, and we were drinking, and my friend was not drinking because we were going to be goddamn responsible. And because I drove the largest car known to man at the time.
Yes, you did.
A 1982 Lincoln Continental.
That's burgundy.
Burgundy. Yes, she was beaut.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody would ride with me because I could fit everybody. And so we were hanging at the mall all the time. And we went to homecoming and we were drinking. And then because we were being responsible, my friend drove my car.
Okay.
But unfortunately, because she did not have a driver's license at the time, I could not tell anybody that, no, we were not drinking and driving. She drove.
Right.
She did not have a driver. Anyway, we got caught drinking. I got suspended from school for 3 days.
Oh.
Yes. It was an ugly mess. So, I was grounded. I'm pretty sure I still am grounded. And my father told me that I would never allowed to step foot in that mall again. Unfortunately, that's where the TJ Maxx is right now.
Oh.
So every now and then I will take a picture of myself in front of that mall and send it to my sister. And she's like, oh, I'm telling Dad, you're not supposed to be there. Fun story about the people there too.
Mm-hmm.
When my junior prom, I was supposed to go with someone from that group who could not attend the prom with me because he had been arrested for burning a hotel down on the boardwalk.
Oh.
Yeah. I was a really good teenager, kids. I was a really good kid and a horrible teenager. And my sister was exactly the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's a lie. She was a terrible teenager too, but I was older and answered the phone every time.
Oh.
She got off scot-free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I sound like my mom.
You do?
Yeah. She's so lucky. Mm-hmm. And I've never told on her. Ever. For any of the stuff that
Wow.
She got in trouble and I had to go pick her up one time. And my mom could not figure out why she was doing all my chores. And I guess my mom was like, you know what? Clearly it's been handled, whatever it is. I'm not going to worry about it. So she never asked why. Oh yeah, Mom would be like, wash the dishes, Heather. And I would be like, really? And my sister would be like, I'll do it. Oh, I'll do it. Like, yeah, that's what I fucking thought. Yeah. So
your mom was probably really proud that you guys actually like came together.
I know, right? Because we hated each other at that point. Hated each other. I'm sure you had the same problem because you had the same distance.
Yes.
So I when I'm my journey on the photos, I wrote down some stores that maybe you remember because I don't think they're around. I know they're not around anymore. Merry-go-round.
I do remember the merry-go-round.
Deb. I mean, that's where you got your prom dress and your homecoming
1,000,000%.
dress. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Deb.
Definitely homecoming dress.
And those bitches fell apart just...
Yes.
You couldn't even zip them up when they were...
No.
They were horrible.
Yes.
Afterthoughts.
Is that the one where they carved?
Yes. That you would go and get your mom some kind of cheesy stuff with like, love Heather.
Yeah.
Heather and Jess say hi. It was like garbage and
yes.
Yeah.
And our parents were like, oh, thanks.
Thanks. It's just what I always wanted.
Great.
Yeah. A necklace with a heart. Kinney shoes.
I do remember Kinney.
Yeah, they were ugly ass shoes. But they did have the cool where they would measure your feet. I think they used like a
I think everywhere did that back then. I remember even if you went into like Kmart, they had people that worked in the shoe section that
at Kmart?
Yeah.
Huh.
I had the little foot thing and
I remember the foot thing. I thought Kinney shoes had a weird foot thing though, like it was like a different foot thing that measured your foot. I don't remember now.
It might be because I watched, I don't know if this still would have been around when we were kids, but I like all those science shows about like odd things in the past and things, and one of them was the big craze was this X-ray machine that measured your feet until everybody was getting over X-rays. And there was really no benefit to X-raying your feet.
Can't imagine that would
get it to fit your shoes.
That would explain.
But I do feel like I remember a machine of some kind. Like not just the...
Yeah, it was like Kinney. I don't know if it was like a box. I should have looked that up.
I don't think we ever shop. I mean, I got literal like Bobos from the grocery store. Remember they had those bins?
Yes. I had to wear special shoes because they had to tie and they had to be polishable and yeah. So we had to go. I couldn't just have rando shoes. I had to have fancier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got around that later though, because Doc Martens can be polished. They also can and do tie, and they were black or brown. There was nothing about whether or not they were boots. There is now.
They just loved you there.
Oh, there is now. There's rules about how high you're, because I wore my boots.
Called Heather's Law.
Yeah, pretty much. And I wore my boots every day. I didn't care. Esprit. Do you remember Esprit? I had the bag. Do you remember the Esprit bag?
My mom would never pay for Esprit.
I had one. I had one bag, and it broke because we went to we had a ROFO. Babe, yeah, in Fenwick, always dead. Right, you know whether it is.
Oh yeah,
that was
just like there's always been one in Rehoboth.
Yes, and one in Ocean City.
Yeah,
it was just those three though.
That's so weird.
And then suddenly they came up everywhere, and everybody was making this big deal, and I was like, "What's so fucking great about them?"
Right,
because I've literally always had one at the end of my street.
Right.
And we used to ride our bike up, and I would take, because it was a huge bag and it had handles, and my mom would send us up to get milk, and I don't really know why we were on the same bike. It doesn't make much sense, but I don't know what happened either. And we ended up falling, and we broke the milk open in the Esprit bag, and
oh no.
Yeah, but the lady was very nice at the ROFO, probably because we were the only children in town. And honestly, I don't know how that ROFO even stayed open. There was literally nobody down there. It was just us. I guess my mom's cigarettes and our milk is what kept them in business.
Well, you do drink a lot of stuff.
We did. We were at the ROFO all the time, buying stupid shit. And so we broke the milk. The lady did end up giving us another milk. That was very nice of her. But I ruined my bag because you never got the Milks didn't show. And Benetton. Do you remember Benetton?
I do remember Benetton. I love the perfume, and I love their ads. They were just so like new agey and different.
The United Colors of Benetton.
Yes.
And they had the cool bag.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of those too. It was like, it was plastic or something. It was probably the shittiest bag ever. And it probably cost $72 million.
Right. But it's a Benetton.
Because it had that Benetton on it. Yeah. My aunt would take us to Benetton. She didn't have any kids, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
She would take us for Christmas. That's the only way we got Benetton. She was like, pick whatever you want. Woohoo. B. Dalton books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we didn't have Barnes and Noble here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do now, but they just opened one in Rehoboth.
They just opened one?
Mm-hmm. In the outlets.
It always blows my mind when they open a bookstore again. Because I thought all the bookstores were closing down.
Apparently not, because they just opened. It's pretty big, too.
I used to love going to a bookstore.
It's where that suit store was. Brooks Brothers. It's where Brooks Brothers was.
Oh.
On the corner. Mm-hmm. And then there's the independent stores. So there's a huge one in Rehoboth. I don't know how that's going to go. Barnes & Noble just opened a couple weeks ago. Or maybe a month. I don't know how long. It's not been, maybe since summer. KB Toys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved KB Toys.
I did too.
I still shopped at KB Toys when my kids were little.
Yeah. It was still in Dover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was not, it was, because the Toys R Us was a separate.
Yeah,
store.
Toys R Us was just a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Like,
it was huge.
Yeah. But just having that little KB toy store was so fun.
Yes. It was always so noisy. You could hear it all over the mall. Yeah. It's probably not around anymore either.
I doubt it.
And then the number one thing that I remember about malls, which I know for a fact is not around anymore, is the Radio Shack. Yes. I mean, how much time did you spend in Radio Shacks?
Oh my gosh.
So much time.
So much. That's where I bought my first phone.
Mm-hmm.
I was allowed to have a phone in my room when I was 16, but I had to buy it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I still had to stick to whatever the rules were. Like, you could only be on the phone for so long because that was before call waiting.
Yes.
So it was just rang a busy signal if anyone tried to call the house.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom's second husband was on call for his job. So I would have to get off. But I was able to buy my own. I mean, it had the cord and plugged into
the
wall. But it was like one of those like cream colored office desk phones.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Did you not have the clear one?
I didn't. I
didn't either. I didn't have the lips one.
I knew someone who had it. Yeah, I didn't have the lips one.
I wanted the lips one.
I knew somebody that had the clear phone, but I didn't have one.
I knew somebody who had the clear one too. And I didn't know anybody that had the lips one, but I wanted the lip ones. And Clarissa explains it all, that she has the hamburger one? No, it was Juno. I think it's Juno. Have you ever watched Juno?
The movie?
The movie?
Yes, but a long time ago.
I think she has the hamburger.
Mm.
And now I need a hamburger one. Now that I think about it. Yeah, I need the hamburger one.
Okay.
Claire's, which is where I got my ear pierced 118 times.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just a terrible way to get your ears pierced.
Oh, yes.
It rips a hole straight through them.
Yeah. And they put a piece of tin in your ear.
They do put a piece of tin, and it costs you $1,200.
Exactly.
And they're just, 16-year-old kids, and they're piercing your ear. It's brilliant.
Right.
Just shoving metal through your skull. Smart.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still around, so I guess,
Yeah, they're doing something right.
Their jewelry is such crap, too.
Mm-hmm.
There's
no way they sell more than gets stolen. I mean, that place is packed. How do you possibly...
And they do those things where it's like buy one, get 17 free.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's stealing. I don't know.
Maybe
that's
Instead
how
of
I
stealing,
looked at
they're
it.
like, oh, at least I'll pay for one.
just buy the one and then take the rest with you. I know.
Buy one, steal whatever else you want.
No one cared. So one of the other things that the 80s mall had was a fashion shows.
I was in a fashion show.
I knew you were, and that's why I put it in there. I knew you would have been.
This was actually not until like the early 2000s
Right.
Yep, I worked at in a casino, and one of the ladies I worked with at the casino, she was really into fashion, and she was putting on a fashion show at the mall, and she asked me to be in it.
I came up for that.
Yep.
I'm so supportive.
Yeah. It was so funny. I walked the runway.
I remember. This episode is right up your alley. You're a mall queen.
I am all mall.
All mall.
All mall.
All mall. But one of the other cool things that they had. Oh wait, back to the fashion shows that you were in, arcades. We talked about that. And the music stores. Mm-hmm. Camelot, Sam Goody. We had a Sam Goody. Christiana had a Camelot. I remember there being a Camelot somewhere.
Well, my earliest recollections, though, are the Blue Hen Mall.
Right. They had a good
which was
store. Yeah.
When I was little. And they had right there on the corner and that's when it was all albums.
Yes.
I mean, I know CDs weren't out yet. There may have been tapes in there. Maybe. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it was all records.
Yeah, I think it was all albums.
If you remember the Blue Hen Mall, those listeners that we have in Australia, if you know the Blue Hen Mall, let us know what the name of that music store was, because I don't remember.
Yeah, because I know Sam Goody was there later, but that wasn't what it was back in the day.
I don't remember the Blue Hen Mall later in time.
Oh man, they had the best pizza joint. They had the best Chinese food. They had
a pet store.
The pet store with the puppies in the window.
Yeah. It's very problematic now.
It is, but when you're a little kid, it's the coolest thing ever.
Well, I remember the Woolworth in the Blue Hen Mall. They had hamsters.
Yes.
I would beg for a hamster.
In the wall
in
of
the
fish.
Wall. Mm-hmm.
So many fish.
Walmart used to have fish in the wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the Woolworth, they had both the like diner bench seating as well as the restaurant.
Yeah.
And whenever my grandma would come down from Jersey, we'd eat at the restaurant.
Oh,
nice. It was fancy when she was there.
It was a nice little diner area. It always smelled good. I don't think we ever ate there. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, they had, and I had to ask my mom what it was. It was Farrell's. I think it was called Farrell's now. It was an ice cream joint. Mm. And
at the Blue Hen Mall?
No, it was in upstate. I don't remember which one. But I was traumatized in that because when it was your birthday, and this is exactly why I don't like anybody telling anybody in any restaurant that it's my birthday. Mm-hmm. I was 5. My sister was coming the next 3 weeks. So they were trying to, and I was allowed to get my ears pierced at 5. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they got me ice cream, and then they bring a drum, and they bang a drum all the way around the place.
Oh my gosh.
And I tried to get under the table. It was the worst birthday ever, except for I got my ear pierced. Oh. Yeah. But then we got my sister a couple weeks later, so it was ruined. Yeah. 5 was a terrible year for me.
Sounds like it.
Trauma left and right. But they also had mall tours. Mm-hmm. And there's one artist in particular that got very famous from touring the malls. And I thought that there was 2, but upon further investigation, the other one, Miss Deborah Gibson, did not tour malls. It was just Tiffany. Yeah. I thought it was both of them, but it was just Tiffany.
All right.
Because all the malls had live music performances. Tiffany at the time had 2 number 1 singles, she had 2 number 1 singles, 4 top 40 hits. She was the youngest female artist to have a number 1 album, and she began her mall tours, June 23rd, 1987, with the Beautiful You, celebrating the Good Life shopping mall tour. That's a lot to say.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Like on a t-shirt, that would be a lot.
She did 3 sets a day every weekend on that tour.
Poor girl.
I know. She sang over pre-recorded tracks for 20 minutes. She then did interviews and greeted onlookers.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, how brilliant is that? Your demographic is literally roaming around with nothing to do.
True.
And then you just rope them in with, I think you're alone now.
Mm-hmm.
And could have been. I do love that one. I'm not going to sing it for you fine folks right now, but I'm going to listen to it on my way home. I think We're Alone one now, which got a lot of attention on MTV, and they were shooting that video while she was doing the mall tour. So that's all in the malls.
I remember that.
Yeah. So yeah, and then after I think We're Alone now, she had Could Have Been, which I mentioned was my favorite Tiffany. And then she started a 6-week arena tour with her opening act. I don't know if you've ever heard of this band. I know this New Kids on the Block.
NKOTB.
Yeah. I was a Donnie girl. And this is where we're going to argue.
Okay.
Go ahead. Tell your New Kids on the Block story, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
All right, so we both have seen New Kids on the Block. We saw them at the Delaware State Fair.
We did not know each other at the time.
No, we did not.
Probably sat right next now.
Yeah, and I remember Tiffany opened for them. I thought we were booing her off the stage because we wanted New Kids to come out. But anyway, I was in like the first 3 rows, and I was to like the right of the stage. And Donnie was up on top of the amplifier, like dancing and singing, and I was screaming, looking up at him, and I swear to God, he looked at me and pointed and waved at me. And I swear to God that happened. No one will ever tell me otherwise.
He was waving at me.
No.
Even though I was not on the floor.
No.
I was in the grandstand.
No, I was like right there.
You're so lucky.
I could be Jenny McCarthy right now.
You're not.
I wasted it.
You did. You could be Marky Mark's sister-in-law.
Oh, that would be hard.
Yeah. He is.
I wouldn't be able to sit at dinner.
No.
Not stare at him.
And you could be getting me all them good Wahlburgers. I know.
I have eaten at a Wahlburgers once.
I have not.
I don't remember where.
Boston.
I don't think so.
Unfortunately for Tiffany, though, that didn't take long before New Kids on the Block headlined, and she had to open for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because Screaming Girls. They even did, did you watch How I Met Your Mother?
No.
They did a spoof, one of the characters, Robin, she was from Canada, and she was basically a Canadian Tiffany named Robin Sparkles. And they did, and Tiffany guest starred on the Robin Sparkles episodes, yeah. That brings us to movies that revolve around the mall.
Okay.
Dawn of the Dead.
Excellent.
In 1978.
I love that movie.
Zombies flocked to the mall because of their drive to consume, and it was all about consumerism, blah, blah. Everything's got to have a message. By far, my absolute favorite mall movie is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Which does not have a message.
Be excellent to each other.
Fair.
That was their message. Come on. I mean, that's just that's Socrates, Joan of Arc, Napoleon, and when he's eating at the ice cream store. That's a great movie.
That was before we knew how much we were going to love Keanu Reeves.
Yes. That's a great movie.
It is.
I even like the second one too. Everybody else hates it, but I loved it. With Death. Come on, they play Twister with Death. That's hilarious. Of course, Back to the Future.
Oh, I love Back to the Future. I saw it in the theater. I want to say like my aunt from Jersey took me and my cousins or something.
Huh.
Something. One of those like half a second of a memory that I have.
Right.
But in the interim, I've seen that movie 1,000 times.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
And Michael J. Fox is a national treasure.
Yes. I think they're remaking it. They are. I think I heard that rumor.
I I'd like to vote no.
I don't think we have a vote. Because
If
I would have
do-
voted no to the Never-Ending Story.
Ugh.
And I would have voted no to The Crow. But they didn't ask me.
Okay.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Mm-hmm.
That showed that there was a hierarchy in the mall job culture.
Yeah.
Valley Girls.
I wasn't into Valley Girls.
I wasn't either.
Mm-mm. I didn't read it. I didn't watch the movies.
Oh my God. Like, totally. I did not either. I did not care.
I do like a Valley Girl accent, though. I know a lot of people find it annoying.
Yeah.
I think it's cute.
It is. It's, yeah. The slang was used.
Yeah, the slang back then was awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Then there was this movie. I'd never heard of this. It was a David Byrne movie. True Stories, 1986. And it was his homage to the weirdness of normal American scenes from a mall. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. And then, of course, there was Mannequin in 1987.
Love Mannequin.
Yeah, I like that movie too. That's a good. My sister loves that movie too. And Mallrats in 95. So those,
Yep.
Now we're going to move to the food court.
This is going to make me hungry.
Let's talk about the Orange Julius.
Okay.
Because I don't think that they exist anywhere other than a mall. And I think that they are no longer in existence. Although, wait, no. When we were in a mall not that long ago, it was Christiana. I think it was Christiana because I think we had to go to the Apple store. They have an Orange Julius Dairy Queen.
There was one in the Dover Mall until, last I saw.
With a Dairy Queen?
No. I think it's just Orange Julius.
It is, and in case you didn't know, is an American chain of beverage stores known for a disgusting, that's my editorial, frothy fruit drink, which just sounds gross.
Yeah.
Frothy fruit drink, also called an Orange Julius. It had been in business since the late 20s. It was a mixture of ice, orange juice, sweetener, milk, powdered eggs, egg whites, and vanilla. And it just is gross.
Oh, it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had one.
I know. It grew out of an orange juice stand in Los Angeles, and then it was taken across to state and county fairs. Then it moved into the mall, and actually, it was bought by the International House of Pancakes. IHOP. Also, it's called International Industries is the company that owns International House, the IHOPs. It also owns the original House of Pies. And I'm sorry, they're just not very clever at naming things. The original House of Pies and the International House of Pancakes. Like, come on. Anyway, in 87, it was bought by Dairy Queen.
Okay.
International Dairy Queen.
Oh, jeez.
And then Dairy Queen, I don't know if you knew this, was purchased in 1998 by Warren Buffett. Yeah.
Does he still own it?
I believe so.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And all of the independent Orange Juliuses were rebranded into Dairy Queens, but the Dairy Queen added the Orange Julius to its product line, and it is a menu item available at Dairy Queen stores called treat centers. Those are the ones I think in the mall. Then there's Mrs. Fields cookies. And man, you could smell those suckers from all over.
Yeah, and I have to say, it wasn't just Mrs. Fields. There were different cookie.
There was another one called the Original Cookie Company. And the Original Cookie Company is the one that had the ginormous chocolate chip cookie in the thing. And oh man, they had good cookies too.
I remember there was this. It was a cookie. It was like cookie dough, peanut butter cookie dough, and it was made in like a muffin tin. And so they would make it with a hollowed out top center, and then they put like this chocolate peanut butter swirl stuff in it. Oh, man, they were so good.
Cookies.
And you can only get them in a mall.
And they were so warm.
Yes. Yeah. And they wouldn't have them like back in the food court. They were like out in the mall part where you could smell it
on your way out of the.
Yes,
that's smart. That's smart marketing. Putting them in the way out of the food court.
Good.
Right at and you remember those cases were always at like kid eye level.
Oh yes,
and they put that giant fancy.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Now we got to go to the mall. Mrs. Fields, Panda Express. I can't eat Chinese food, so
you can't.
No, because the shellfish. Yeah,
I love Panda Express. I love all Chinese food.
But it opened in '93. Sbarro.
Oh, Sbarro.
That's where you got the pizza.
And it's still good pizza.
I know. I'm sure I have. It has garlic knots.
I do love garlic.
It still has over 600 locations in 28 different countries.
Yeah.
The Sbarro is
there's one in the Dover Mall.
Yeah, they are not fucking around.
No.
They are.
Back in the day, you got a huge slice of pizza.
You did get really big
pizza. They
pizza.
don't do that anymore.
No, I don't imagine they do. That's how
but even their pastas were good.
I never had anything other than pizza.
I worked in malls, so
yeah,
I had multiple times to eat at the food court.
This one wasn't in the food court, but I remember it, and I only remember it being at like holidays, but at Hickory Farms.
Oh, I love Hickory Farms, and last time I was in the Dover Mall at Christmas was a couple of years ago, and they had the pop-up kiosk. And I always like the vanilla, creamy mint things with the white jimmies on it. Yeah. Those are my favorite.
Oh. I only remember sausages. And they gave out free samples.
They did.
So now I know your favorite, because we talked about this just before we started recording, was the Cinnabon.
Yes, because when I worked at the Wild Pear, there was the Cinnabon right across the hall. I don't know if it was good or bad, but I smelled it the entire time that I was working. But I was a key holder.
Right.
So I would get there and always make sure to get there in time to get like everything all set up and then run over to the Cinnabon as soon as they open so I could buy one and get back into there was nobody in the mall at that time of the morning, but
that's one of my my weird foods. I like cinnamon rolls until I don't like cinnamon rolls, and then I cannot eat any. Then they make me gag. It's weird.
Yeah, I haven't met many cinnamon rolls I don't like.
I don't know what It's a weird situation for me. I like them. I like the way they smell. I like the thought of them. But then once I start eating them, I'm like, I really don't like this.
But Cinnabons these days are not the same. So don't listen to this and be like, oh, she's right. I'm gonna go get one. Like, meh. I mean, you can only really get them now at like rest areas.
Yeah. Out airports.
Yeah, there's actually a Cinnabon food truck up in the TJ Maxx parking lot in Dover. It's been there for like years.
You know what? I think I remember seeing. No. You know what they have in Rehoboth? Annie Ann's food trucks.
Oh.
Yeah, they have like 2 of them in the outlets.
Weird.
I know, and I did have to stop at one to get.
Yeah, I don't like Annie Ann's.
I got a couple coworkers. I was off and they were still working, so I went and got one of them cinnamon ones. You're welcome, Jared. So, yeah, what happened to malls? Where are they? Where'd they go? They died a horrible death. Most of them, anyway. Because of the internet, obviously, you could just have shit sent to your house. You didn't have to go to the mall anymore. The big anchor stores were losing to, Walmart and Amazon and Target, and the poor management in the malls, they started going downhill. They just weren't safe anymore. They're pretty sketchy now.
They are.
There's Macy's closed, JCPenney's closed, Sears closed. I mean, I think when Sears started going, I think that was pretty much the death of the mall at that point. So they just can't keep up. The hallways are empty, so it's...
Although, you know what? Dick's Sporting Goods still, they're rocking them all.
Well, so what they ended up doing with malls now, let's see. In the 80s, there were... Let me just get my stat out, and then I'll tell you. In the 80s, there were around 2,500 malls in the U.S., and today there are only 700 of them. Yes, but now what they do is they use them for mixed use development stuff, like water parks, golf courses.
Well, and actually, the Blue Hen Mall, which we have mentioned a number of times,
Yes, that one.
that's where my office is. I work for the state of Delaware. And they were putting state offices in there, and now Bay Health is the big hospital around here,
Yeah.
and they have bought both of the ends and have things, and now they own the whole mall. So as everybody's contracts expire, so we have one more year from this month.
So what, did they put a hospital in there or something?
It's
Or is it offices?
well, the one end is like orthopedic stuff.
Oh.
And the other end is like a walk-in, but they have like x-rays and stuff in there too. And so I don't know if they'll put doctors' offices in or what. But yeah, so they're basically turning that mall into a
And that's what a lot of malls
healthcare center.
started doing. They were picking up other things.
I like the
Water
idea
parks.
of senior citizen retirement centers.
I love that. There was a meme about that.
I mean, it's for us.
Yeah.
And we're the
Make
age
'em-
that would be moving in there.
Make them 80s or Gen X retirement homes. And
Yeah,
just
give
throw
us a
all in
pizza
there.
shop and an ice cream
hell.
store, and we're good.
We just roam the mall.
Yeah.
Give us
Just one
some
bathroom.
Jenko jeans and just let us roam around. But like the Mall of America in Minnesota, the really big one, which always entertains me because I feel like they built that kind of at the end of malls.
They did. I thought that too.
Yeah.
Is it still a
Yeah.
mall?
Mm-hmm. But they had so much other shit in there.
And it's a destination. Like,
They had a water park. They have roller coasters. They have a hotel.
Yeah.
So any place that was able to kind of integrate, and then a lot of them put Dick's in, and I know Salisbury has like the Burlington, and so they moved other things.
Yeah, the Christiana Mall's doing great.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
I
But they
know.
also put a lot of like box stores around
Outside of it, yeah, and I mean
restaurants
and Apple Store. They throw an Apple Store in there. You're going to get traffic in there just because. So
And I think some of the nicer restaurants up that way are actually at the mall.
well, and that's a lot of them did. They put not higher end restaurants, but like a lot of brew pubs and a lot of destinations.
Right.
Because it makes sense. You're in the middle of a commercial area, so you're not bothering a neighborhood with your loud music, and you're inside, so you can do
Right.
loud music or whatever. So that's how a lot of the, I guess, 700 malls, although the Salisbury Mall is horrible. Horrible. It has a giant movie theater, but other than that, I don't know
Yeah,
what
the
you would
Dover
go
Mall's
for.
terrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a movie theater anymore.
Really?
That one went under.
Huh.
Whatever that company was.
Right. Was it AM? No, it wasn't AMC. Salisbury has an AMC. No, Salisbury has a Regal.
I think it was AMC.
Yeah. So that's what they do. Oh, but you know what? It was cool because when I was looking at it, that first mall, the whole concept of it was they wanted to put like libraries and stuff like that in them. And actually now there was a couple of malls that have moved libraries into like public libraries into, which is a great, I mean,
that is a great idea.
those huge box stores like a Sears, I mean,
Yeah.
that's perfect. That's a beautiful,
Yeah.
and the atriums, and that would make a lovely library.
Yeah.
Lovely library.
Yeah, they really need to rethink malls. They are obviously, but there's just so much unlimited potential.
Yeah. The one in there, they tore one down in Ocean City. Actually, we work out of an old mall. We're in the food court and where the movie theater was. But I don't think there's any mallness to it. It's got a Walmart and it's all box stores now. And I there's a door, but I don't know if it goes anywhere. I haven't been over there. I do remember though that there was I think there was a pet store. There was definitely a Radio Shack over in between. It's Harbor Freight now, and the grocery outlet. But there was a radio. One of the last surviving Radio Shacks was in that door that goes in there. And then the movie theater used to have dollar movie night at that movie theater in the week. It was older movies. Yeah, you could watch. I saw many. It was all older stuff, so you could go back and watch Gremlins.
Right.
So that's them all.
Yeah. Yay!
And since this
That
is
was so
airing
interesting. I love that.
on Black Friday,
Yeah.
you know, get your shopping done.
Yes.
I'll be working because we had off yesterday. For all of us, we had yesterday. So, if you're listening to this at work today, good job, guys.
I won't be at work.
Oh, excuse you. Is that a state holiday? Or are you just going to?
Yeah, we get Thanksgiving and the day after
Really?
Thanksgiving off.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I wish
Well, it was probably just everybody was taking that day off anyway. So.
It makes total sense.
Right.
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, I get why we don't,
Yeah.
but, and stores, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was it.
That's it.
I hope you have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
I'm going to try. It's a drive to Assateague tomorrow. Or yesterday for you guys. 2 days from now. So you can find us on all the socials.
Mm-hmm.
Please find us on all the socials, on the Book of Face, especially. Because that's where Nicole is our socials expert.
I am.
And
help a sister out.
yeah. She really does a lot of work on that. She does good job.
Thanks.
Find us at Like Whatever Pod on all of the socials. You can send us an email and tell us about your favorite store from the mall and what the thing at the Kinney Shoes was called. Because I would like to know. At likewhateverpod@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a way to send through, like it says send a message or something on in the descriptions. You can send it right through there.
Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah, see
We'll
what
figure it
happens.
out.
Yeah. We'll get a weird message and be like, I don't know how to do that. But I think that's it. So you can email us or don't, like, whatever.
Whatever.
Bye.
Bye.